Greetings and welcome to Miles More Motivation, the show that is designed to give you more happiness, fulfillment, and obviously more motivation. In this episode, we're going to talk about haters, how to deal with haters. This past couple of weeks, I've had some haters. Grant Cardone says, when you get haters, you're just about getting the amount of attention you need to grow your message and to serve at the level you want to serve. And Brene Brown calls them keyboard warriors. I definitely have noticed a few on my Facebook ads over the past few weeks. I've had a comment this past couple of weeks calling me a loudmouth fraud. And I'm not going to lie, I'd be lying to you if I said that there wasn't parts of me that were a bit upset by that, a bit hurt by that, because if you know anything about my work and you know anything about, the term imposter syndrome, you know that for years I put off, for years I procrastinated, for years I delayed going full out on my coaching because this voice inside of my head said, who are you to do that? Who are you to speak a message of personal development? You're not Tony Robbins, you're not Brendan Burchard. Who do you think you are? Maybe you can relate. You had that little voice inside your head. But one of the things I realize is that, as it's Grant Cardone actually that said that, when you're getting attention like that, it means that your message is reaching more people. Because one of the things I've learned is that if you want to grow a business, if you want to grow a brand, you're going to have to get people that don't like you. Not everyone is going to like you. And what I want to do in this video is share with you how I deal with haters. Because here I am still recording videos every week in spite of getting that kind of negative comment on a video. I'm going to carry on doing it regardless. And I'm going to share with you 3 kind of critical components of how I deal with haters and how I feel that you can deal with that too. So the first one that will really help you if you've got haters, if you've got people that you feel complain and are negative about your message and your content, is you've got to do what I call value curiosity. My word of 2020 in light of this pandemic is curiosity. You see, the reason why I like that word curiosity is when you're curious, it's very difficult to have anger. It's very difficult to have frustration. It's very difficult to feel a negative emotion towards another person. So let me put this in context for you. So a negative comment comes in on a Facebook ad, and I see that comment, and initially I get an emotional reaction. But then when I go to curiosity, it leads to me to kind of sparks a question in my mind, such as, I wonder what sparked this person to react this way. Maybe they have, maybe they don't do personal development. Maybe they're so much of a champion for one particular person in the world of personal development, anybody else to them is a fraud. Maybe they have had a bad experience in personal development, but I don't actually know what the answer is to what causes people to be a hater. But what I know is when you're curious, I wonder what's gone on for that person that day that's made them create that negative reaction. I wonder what's going on in their life that's caused them to feel the need to do that. I always say that if somebody in your life or your world, or whether that's online or offline, says anything negative to you, very rarely is that about you. Most cases it's about some other event from a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Something's happened in their life that's provoked them, that's still unresolved, and now they've seen something in your message or your comment, and it's re-sparked that, right? So it's really important to know that when you value curiosity, kind of like, I wonder why they like that. I wonder what's made them react that way. What it does is it takes away all the negative energy, and it puts you in a state of kind of peaceful understanding of perspective, kind of putting yourself in their shoes and thinking, I wonder what's made them feel that way. And then all of a sudden the anger just dissolves. So develop more curiosity, value curiosity. It'll really help you with haters. Next, I think it's really important when haters come in, is you've got to do what I call an ethics audit. You see, when I got that recent comment, that fraud comment, that loudmouth fraud comment, it kind of what it did is it sparked something inside of me, and I wasn't quite sure what it was, and I realized it was challenging my ethics. And what it did is it was challenging my morals. It made me ask myself the question, am I a fraud? Because whenever anybody makes a comment, what often happens in our head is we ask ourselves a question. And so for me, I asked the question, am I that? Am I what that person says I am? If you ever had an argument with somebody and they've said, you're this and you're that, and maybe you've reacted negatively back, but then when you're away, you feel sad, or you feel an emotion that's kind of hurt or upset. That's because you're in your head, you're questioning, am I that person? Am I that, what they've said I am? So an ethics audit is where you're actually checking in with yourself to check if the thing that you've done is actually ethical. Is it, and one of the things you want to really do with this, and what I did is I went, think about my videos, and I thought, and this is from Tony Robbins, who'll say, if you really want to do this properly, you want to ask yourself the question about everything that you do in your life, is it good for me? Right? So for example, smoking, is it good for me? No. Is it good for others? No. Is it good for the world? No. Me doing these videos, is it good for me? Yes. Is it good for others? Yes. Is it good for the world? Yes. Fitness, is it good for me? Yes. Is it good for others? Yes. Is it good for the world? Yes. So what an ethics audit effectively means is when you check in with yourself and check that what you're doing is actually ethical. So for example, let's say someone was genuinely, fraudulently doing something dodgy with money, right? And a person called them a fraud. If they're doing something that's unethical, they may think is good for them, but they know is not good for others and isn't good for the world, then that's going to challenge their ethics. And if they've got any morals, if they've got a moral compass, they probably will not want to do that long term. Like I know people that have been into drugs and they got out of drugs and they still have this ethical thing of, I should have never taken drugs. And it was 20 years ago. But it's because it really challenged their ethics, because they've got good morals deep down inside of them, right? So you want to do an audit of your ethics. If you know what you're doing is good for you, good for others, good for the world, keep doing it. And last, best way, most important way to develop emotional immunity is to deal with haters. I've already told you now, is to develop what we call emotional immunity. I have had for years eczema. And one of the things that they say about eczema is it's an autoimmune disease. And the best way to deal with an autoimmune disease or a low immune system is through eating more fresh plant-based foods, is having the right supplements. One of the things that I have I'm low in is things like zinc, magnesium and iron. So as well as eating the right foods for that, I take a supplement for that. And it really helps with my overall kind of skin and internal immunity. What you've got to do is you've got to develop emotional immunity, doing personal development, maybe getting a life coach, going to a seminar, reading books, spending more time with positive people, feeding your mind with positive things, meditation, looking after your emotional well-being, and making sure that your self-worth is the highest it can possibly be. Not in an arrogant way, just in a self-worthiness way, so that when some negative comment comes in, you know that you value yourself enough that you can deflect that and not let that affect you and not derail you from your mission, right? So it's really important that you develop that emotional immunity, because haters are going to come. If you're growing a business, if you're working on a dream or a mission, there are going to be people that complain, why are you doing that? Why are you doing this? Even if it's just slightly family, like, no, I know you're trying to work out, but, just have a bit of cake. Even that is a real subtle hater. It's somebody who's wanting to derail you from your dream because they want to stay connected to you. It's really important that you develop that emotional immunity, because that's going to get you through dealing with the haters. That's it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, there should be a link somewhere underneath the video to book a coaching call. This coaching call is a complimentary coaching call with me worth £299. It's the same coaching that I deliver to CEOs of multinationals, MMA fighters, people from X Factor, people from Hollywood movies, completely complimentary. Go ahead and book a call. But that's it. Miles on Motivation. Over